Is that fucked up because tabbing out of the camera view stopped the recording, so this will be a new video, I'm guessing. One of the questions he asked was about if I can work in intense... if there is an if I can work, is there a time and place to work on X, Y and Z? So for writing, for example, I did that. I stopped that a month ago and I haven't done it since. And I don't really want to say, there is a time, to write. I mean, what started that second book of mine was a feeling of desperation, I guess, of insecurity in myself, of, I guess, helplessness, because I felt like I was kind of controlled to some extent by my food addiction. That's what I wrote about primarily at the beginning, like the first 1,000 or 2,000 or so words. And now I don't know, I feel no inclination toward writing, continuing it in writing. I don't really know what I'd write about. I don't think it'd be as passionate and as creative. Maybe there will be a time and place when I pick it up again, when I'm going through another bout of pain. But the thing is, I attribute value judgments to these sorts of things. So I will say, like, it's bad that I'm not writing now, because I have free will and I should be able to write whenever I choose to write, etc., etc. I shouldn't have to write when I'm only feeling in pain, because that's like pedestalizing or whatever to pain. It's making me see pain as something valuable or positive, and it's not so bad. It's not bad to say that. It's not like I'm saying that pain is completely bad. It's good that we can use pain and we can kind of transmute it into something good. We can utilize it. But it's me saying that I don't want to be reliant on pain to produce. I guess that's one of the things we do as people. Well, I know I do as a person, because when we're in pain, I guess I feel inclined to use my creativity to help me feel, I don't know, more human. Just feel the pain like ease a little bit. And then when I'm feeling more positive, I feel more inclined to just live, I guess, and embrace life. Pardon the air quotes. I think they're necessary. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel more inclined to. Yeah, I guess. But at the same time, I'm enjoying more life more now, I guess. And I'm still nevertheless reading and practicing guitar each day, which I'd say to some extent is not really creative, but it's still productive. I don't know what the fuck I'm trying. Another thing is like, do I think my interest in philosophy, what does it tell me I want from life? What does it tell me does it separate me from other people? If so, how or why? And do I want to be different than other people? There's some loaded questions. Not loaded, but take a lot to unpack to give a fruitful answer. I don't know what my interest in philosophy says about me and what I want out of it. Maybe more understanding, maybe because the Buddhist premise of impermanence, like nothing is permanent, and I guess we, having consciousness, want some control over life and we can't find that. So I believe that furthering my understanding of the world and I guess myself is a way of trying to find a greater sense of control. Over my surroundings. So perhaps that's part of it. Perhaps it's also partly because I just feel a sense of underlying anxiety, which probably comes from, neuroses, which has grown due to my upbringing and my time in school and, my relationships throughout my adolescence and what have you. So because I have this sense of anxiety, I want to help relieve it, ease it, and I guess I believe I can do that through some greater sense of understanding about myself and the world around me. I think I've certainly had that in the past. Like, for example, when I read Ethics by Spinoza, it was talking all about like the emotions and stuff and the passions, and it helped me accept that, like, I have emotions and passions, and I'm not a completely autonomous being. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I accept myself a bit more. I have a bit more understanding about myself, and thus I felt some ease, and I didn't feel so bad for being me, and for having urges and, pangs of just anxiety, and then having no desire to do productive things, and then not feeling so bad for not doing them, or whatever. Obviously, I still struggle with this, but I think we all do, and I think most of us do, and I think that's one of the reasons I want to keep reading and understanding, I guess. Nevertheless, I don't want to just be all my life trying to think and understand and contemplate. One of the things I learned recently was that, like, the scholastics, and a lot of, I don't know, people from antiquity used to see, like, the most virtuous thing to be the contemplation of God. So just like contemplation. And no, like, I'm not trying to reference this to swing my dick around, but to try to use what I've learned. You can contemplate and think and whatever and learn about yourself, but I think you got to live. And I think I don't know, I've done a decent job over the last couple of years, I think, of, mixing up learning, reading philosophy, reading semi-difficult texts, and actually living, exploring the world, and endeavouring to new things, just being curious. So not only in terms of thinking, but in actually doing as well. So I think that's quite positive. I'll pause the video again, because I know not what to say next. This is pretty much completely unrelated. Maybe it is related, but I don't know, I was just thinking about learning Latin again. Learning Latin, not again. I mean, I bought a book, Wheelock's Latin, and I spent a few days pissing around with it, I think. Then I was thinking, like, oh yeah, it's not very useful to learn Latin in comparison to, say, learning Spanish, because I do want to travel down South America, and Spanish is pretty much universally spoken down there. Does that make sense? It's universally, anyway, it's kind of wholly spoken down there, save for, like, Brazil and probably a few other countries and different small portions that have been colonised by France and probably us English. Anyway, or were colonised, should I say. I was thinking, like, yeah, it's not as useful, but I have no interest in learning Spanish, and I don't know why. And I just know that if I forced myself to learn Spanish, then it wouldn't stick, and I wouldn't really maintain the learning. It wouldn't be sustainable. But for whatever reason, Latin, I think it's because of how, I don't know, I'm curious about the language, and it's the language of many of those antiquated people from antiquity who they wrote in, or they would speak, and they wrote books in. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I guess a lot of philosophy that I have enjoyed was written in Latin. Not that much actually, because a lot of it was Greek. Nevertheless, I think even a lot of works from I don't know. I think Spinoza's Ethics were first written in Latin, for example. Seneca, I believe, wrote in Latin. I'm just more curious about it, and I just find it more interesting when I'm reading a work and somebody quotes Latin. I'm like, damn, that'd be cool to be able to understand that, and I don't question that. That's just how it is. So I think even though it's not really as useful, it'd be probably more fun for me. And it's like every now and again, I'll paint, and I can't paint. I don't know what I paint. It's just random dashes and shit, but I enjoy it, and I'll never get anywhere with it, I don't think. No, it's just something to release tension and make me feel a bit better. And I guess I'm going to segue that into, well, I'm going to bring that segue into saying how, like, I don't think everything should have a productive end. It doesn't have to. You wouldn't have to produce something. I guess we can say, oh, we're producing calm of mind, or we're producing a sense of relief, but I'm on about material things, I guess. Because, I mean, I know when I was doing the pros and cons of, like, continuing web development, I was saying, like, oh, it'll help me, you know, get me to the end where I can freelance around the world, and I'll be able to work from wherever I am and never have to really worry about money, and I can just work for a day and live for a week in, like, a poorer country. Like, in theory, that sounds amazing, but if I don't have the curiosity or the passion to do such a thing, I think trying to endeavour toward it is almost futile, because even if I eventually did achieve it, I don't think I'd really enjoy it when I'm doing it, and it wouldn't be sustainable over the years. Maybe it would, maybe I'd be able to find some way of incorporating another interest in it, but, you know, as it is, if it isn't, you know, evoking curiosity or, you know, interest, whatever, I don't know how really worthwhile it is doing, because I can say, oh, look at all these benefits, and they're right, but it's like the same as saying every morning meditate for 40 minutes, go for a 30-minute run, fast for 18 hours, and just do that every day, and you'll be thinner, you'll be much clearer, you'll have no anxiety, you'll be fitter, you'll start to love life. And they might be generally correct, like, you might feel that, but then everything else with it, like the amount of self-expectation, you know, might not be sustainable. So if you miss a day, you might feel like a piece of shit. All these other different things. So, for example, when I get to having a portfolio website and people like saying, oh, will you build my website, I'll pay you $1,000, it might sound amazing, but then what about if each day I'm dreading going to the laptop to code, because I'm like, I really don't want to do it, or I've got a load of anxiety about not producing a website good enough. You know, all of this shit. You've got to consider a lot of other stuff, a lot of other things. So yeah, I think that's quite an interesting point, and I'm glad I've kind of extrapolated all of that from the idea of learning Latin. So maybe that's something I'll start to do, because I'm still interested in it. And yeah, I think that's the end of the video. I think I've answered some of Luke's questions by that, kind of, but I will write him a response. Nevertheless, this is nice to have a bit of solitude. I've just got loads of bees in that tree next to me, constantly buzzing away, which is nice. Luke and Cherie, that reminds me of. Bumblebee. Shit on knee. Many other ones that we used. Nice. Alright, adios.